Welcome to the EPG Padashala, the lecture series in computer science for the PG program, and this is the compiler design course, and this is the 23rd module, and where we will be discussing about the 3 address code generation for declarations, symbol table management, and an introduction to arrays in the context of 3 address code generation. So, the objectives of this module are to learn to write semantic rules for declarations by declaring scope information, that is the scope information of variables and the functions associated with the particular variables. They will be, we should know how to handle and which variables can basically handle which function should also be in a position to be understood. So, that is the primary one of the objectives of this module, and then after looking at it, to understand, to remember the scope of the symbol information for symbol tables. So, we will see this, and then to understand, to generate the grammar for array accesses. So, how do I modify the grammar for array, and how do I define the grammar for array will also be discussed in this module. So, array is 3 address and scope of variables. So, this is the grammar corresponding to declarations, where we had the productions as P produces capital D, D is a D semicolon D or ID colon equal to T, and procedure ID semicolon D semicolon S, where S basically refers to statements. Now, a declaration can be a sequence of declarations, or it could be a simple declaration itself, where I have the LHS as the identifier, which is the variable name, and that will be equal to T, meaning that I will have the type of this particular variable defined here. And this is a function called declaration, where I will have a procedure ID, that is ID here is the name of the procedure, followed by the declarations as part of the procedure, and the statement that is going to comprise the procedure is what is available here. So, what happens here is you have to declare a new symbol table whenever procedure ID is going to be encountered. So, when I look at proc ID here, proc ID here stands for procedure ID, that is the grammar basically. So, you have to create a symbol table whenever you introduce a proc ID, okay. And then after that, this declarations will have a sequence of variable definition that is pertaining to this particular procedure, and S will be the statements. Now, this declarations should be in a position to indicate which variables correspond to and which variables can basically access other variables. So, already when a function call is going to happen, the parent function, okay, the parent function exists, and the parent function, the variables corresponding to the parent function should not be in a position to access the variables corresponding to this function, as well as the variables corresponding to this function should not be in a position to access the parent function's variables. So, that has to be taken care here. So, we have incorporated, the textbook basically talks about incorporating functions for implementing the 3 address code corresponding to declarations and defining their scope information. So, in Pascal, this textbook which we have adopted here is the Aho Sethi Ullman textbook, which is a 3-author version. So, where it incorporates Pascal syntax for maintaining scope information of variables available as part of the declarations. So, here the function is make table, whose argument is a previous, it is a pointer, okay, which this make table function, it returns a pointer to a new symbol table, and that is linked to a previous table in the outer scope, meaning that there will be a link from the calling function symbol table to the called function symbol table using this previous pointer, meaning that in the context that the one symbol table will be created for the new function, and this will have information about who has basically initiated this function call. So, that will also be available. So, this previous here refers to the symbol table address of the calling function, okay. So, this is one information. The second function is called as enter, where you have 4 arguments here called as table, name, type and offset. So, this is used to create a new entry in the symbol table. That is, once I have created a symbol table, I have to add the variables pertaining to that particular function. So, how do I do that? That is basically done with this enter function call, where table refers to the address of the symbol table in which I have to add a variable, and name here refers to the variable's name, okay. and type refers to the data type of your variable name, and the offset refers to how much an offset is required with respect to the variables available in that particular function. The next one is add width. Okay, this add width is the same as the previously encountered add width function. So, where table comma width it are the two arguments. So, table refers to the address of the current symbol table, and width is the argument. So, where it accumulates the total width of all entries in the symbol table and then puts it as an argument here. Supposing I have here 4 variables declared, and so I know the width of all these 4 variables using this offset. So, based on that I can basically count and then update the this information and put it in the current symbol table basically. The next one is called as enter procedure, enter proc, which has got a table name and a new table. So, where it creates a new entry in the table for a procedure with local scope new table, meaning that the table is the existing table, okay, new table will be the table which is getting created, okay. So, in the parent symbol table there will be the new tables created information will be there, and there will also be an address pointing to the address of the new symbol table. Now, how do I know the address of the new symbol table? That is done with respect to the make table function. So, table refers to the current table. So, in the current table I have to add the new function's name and the address of the symbol table corresponding to the new function, that is also added here, okay. So, it creates a new entry in the table for procedure with local scope new table. So, existing table's address is table and name of the new table is name, and new table refers to the address of the new table. Then one more function is lookup, where table comma name is going to be the argument. So, table refers to the address of the table in which I have to look up, and it returns a pointer to the entry in the table for name by following linked table. So, it keeps on referring to the link. So, how do I know the link here? That link is available in enter procedure function. So, the main table is available in the main table, that is the calling functions table is what we refer to as main table here. So, in the calling function you will also add the new function which is getting called from here, that name along with the address, symbol table address of the new function call. So, that will also be available in enter procedure, okay. So, using that I can find out whether where this particular variable is available in which symbol table is basically available. So, it returns a pointer to the entry in the table for name by following linked tables. So, let us take this example. So, this is one function. So, where I have previous is equal to nil, meaning that previous is a address of the previously called symbol table, and it is nil for the main function because that is the first table which is getting created, okay. And here there is one more function here called as swap, okay. So, where I will have here information as A, B and T, all these three are variables pertaining to this particular symbol table, and what happens here is this is pointing to the global symbol table. So, where this is the new symbol table and this symbol table points to the previous symbol table, okay. And similarly, there is one more function called as foo, which is being again called from the main symbol table. So, there is a pointer, the previous pointer points to this symbol table. So, here the address of previous will be the address of the global symbol table. Here again the address of the previous will be the address of the global symbol table, and in turn this is your information. So, where I have also got the offset here because I have here this is the main function, okay. So, I have only 4 as my offset here because S is my variable, okay. It is with this off because it is a structured definition, and then I have here previous as 12, width as 12 here. I have 3 entries A, B, T, therefore, it is 12. So, these are the offset information 0, 4 and 8. So, 0 is available right away, 4 is at the offset of 4 from 0, and 8 is at an offset of 4 from B. So, if I know the base address of A, I can calculate the other addresses basically. Similarly, here A and 4, that is going to be one more function, okay. So, which is going to have a thing of 8. So, this is how it maintains. On top of it, if you could understand this, function foo is going to be called, that is what is available here. So, this is function foo. So, function foo is going to be called from the swap function foo is going to be called from the main function. So, swap is, so this is done, the swap and the foo, these two information are added to this particular table using the enter procedure call. Okay. So, this enter procedure, what does it do? It adds the name of the new symbol table and its address is referred to by a link. Similarly, foo is going to be called from main, that is also added as a part of the symbol table, and that is getting its address is pointing to the symbol table address of foo. Okay. So, again this is the structure A comma B. I have a symbol table for the structure basically, and that is referred to from the main symbol table. Okay. So, this is how it is basically linked. So, I have here two functions and those two functions are added to the main symbol table using what function? Using the enter proc function. So, it adds the name of the symbol table in the current symbol table and the address is referred to the new symbol table's address. Okay. And here what happens? The header of the new symbol table will have the symbol table address of the called function. So, main function calls this particular function means I will have a return, I will have a link from this the previous pointer which is available as part of the symbol table's header, that will be pointing to the called function's symbol table. So, this is what we are trying to explore here. On top of it, there is one more stack which is maintained. We will look at it as we move on. So, example, let us consider this call. So, void of A. So, there is the same foo example we are taking here. The function foo is going to call A, again it is going to call B, and then it is going to call C. Okay, it is going to call A, B, C in a sequential manner. And after C is getting, when A is getting called, the control transfers here, okay, and A in turn calls D. Okay, A in turn calls D. So, how do I look at the stack information? Now, this is the stack of table pointers basically, it is available. So, here the first thing is main will be there in the stack, the symbol table pertaining to main will be in the stack, and then when main is calling foo, the symbol table pertaining to foo will be, the address of symbol table pertaining to foo will be added to the stack, and once when A is called, that is the address, the symbol table pertaining to A is added to the stack, and when D is getting called from A, its symbol table address is also added to the stack. So, this is actually maintained in addition to the already existing function where you have a stack of table pointers, and the top of the stack of table pointers will always point to the symbol table which is being currently referred. So, when A has actually called D, D is on the top of the stack, which is an indication that the variables corresponding to D will be allowed to access. Okay. Not only that, when D is done its job, that symbol table is removed from the stack, and when A also returns to the main, which is the foo, that that symbol table is also no longer available. Okay. And when foo is going to call B, that alone gets added. Once a call goes to C, because we have not looked at B or C, assuming that B is not going to call any other function. So, B is just does some work and leave it. So, that is available in the top of the stack, and then when C gets called, C is added to the top of the stack, and after that C is also removed from the stack, and then that leaves with foo and main. For example, say foo also, if it is done, then the control, the stack will have only the main symbol table, which is going to be done after the complete program executes. So, in addition to the links of symbol tables which we have pointed out here, okay, this stack of table pointers, the address of the stack of table pointers is also maintained, and where the top of the stack basically indicates what is the address of the current symbol table which is being referred to. Okay. So, with that information only we are going to work with, and let us just look at the semantic rules that helps do this job. Okay. Now, we already know that this is your productions, and in those productions we are going to add one dummy variable, a dummy non-terminal here called as m, and there is one dummy non-terminal here called as n. Okay. Now, these dummy non-terminals are basically used to create a new table. Okay. So, this is the first production which is used to derive the sequence or derive the string that represents a declaration. So, what we do here is when M is encountered, then this control transfers to M. Okay, M produces epsilon. So, that will be evaluated first. So, what does it basically do? It creates a table using the make table function whose argument is nil here. Now, normally what is the argument of make table? Make table will contain the argument of the previously created symbol table. That is, the calling function's symbol table argument will be there as part of the make table function. Where will I get it from? To do that, we need to know the stack of table pointers. Okay. So, the previous information, when we look at this, so when A is going to call D, when D is encountered, a make table function has to be initiated. That make table will have the argument as A, meaning that A has called. So, there will be a link from A to D. Okay. So, that is the first one. So, it does a make table call. The first one is M, meaning that this is the first declaration. So, this is the parent symbol table. So, when there is a parent symbol table, then it does not have a previous symbol table call, therefore, it is passed with a nil. Now, I am going to push the address of this symbol table and I am going to push an offset of 0 into 2 stacks. I can maintain this as 2 stacks or I can maintain it as a single stack. Okay, assuming I am maintaining it as 2 stacks. So, when I say push t comma table pointer, so table pointer is the stack of table pointers available. Okay, this is a stack. Okay, this is an offset stack. So, here I am pushing t onto the stack. Okay. Now, after M is done, I will look at D semicolon S. Okay. I will encounter D semicolon S. Now, what will this do? Add with top of table pointer, top of offset. After S is done, you will pop table pointer and pop offset. So, the semantic rule corresponds to as and when I encounter what happens. Now, remember that this is a derivation. So, when I start deriving, I normally use a leftmost derivation. So, first encountering will be M, then I will encounter D. Once D is encountered, I will do this. Okay. But D has to be replaced with ID colon T or something of that nature, or it could be again one more function call, whatever it is. Then only it will come to S. Once I come to S, I will do a pop table pointer and pop offset. Okay. The next rule is D produces ID colon T. Now, this is declaring a variable of type T. So, what will I do? I use the enter function to enter this variable name into the symbol table. How do I know which symbol table? That is done by the stack of table pointers. So, that is available in the table pointer stack. If I do a top, that is the top refers to the symbol table that should be currently used. Okay. So, top of table pointer will get you the address of the topmost table symbol tables pointer, and into that I will add this variable name along with the type T and top of offset. So, whatever offset is basically done, that is actually you push a 0 here. So, you start the first variable with an offset of 0, and then what you do is you update top of offset with top of offset plus t dot width. So, here we have pushed a 0 on as offset, right. Now, we will increment the offset as 0 plus the width of t. So, the t is a data type. So, it is going to have a width and a type. Type is put into the symbol table, width is used to update this stack. So, I have a stack of table pointers, I have a stack of offset. So, this offset will have a 0 initially to start with and then gets appended as and when I encounter new variables. Okay. The next production is procedure ID n d1 semicolon s. So, what happens is once procedure ID is encountered, okay, when ID is encountered, what I should do? I have to add this to my current symbol table, okay. And then when n is encountered, I have to create a new symbol table to store the information corresponding to D1 and S. Again, n is a dummy dummy variable. It will be n produces epsilon, which is going to be simply calling a make table, and to make table now the argument corresponds to the top of table pointer as address. That is, the calling function's symbol table's address is now available as in the table pointer stack. So, I will do a top and then I will use that to create a new table. Now, after that what I should do, I should push the new address into the stack, and I should have push a 0 offset into the offset stack. So, now this new symbol table which is created, that will be available in the top of the stack. In our example, when I had called D from A, okay, A was used as an argument here, and now the top of the stack of table pointer refers to D, okay, with an offset of 0. Now, if you look at this, after n is done, I do T is equal to top of table pointer, add with T comma top of offset, okay, and then pop table pointer and pop offset, and then I have to do enter procedure top table pointer comma id dot name comma T. So, now this T refers to top of table pointer. What is there in the top of table pointer? The newly added. So, n is encountered first, and then I will add D1, okay, I will see D1. So, as n is encountered, I have already created a symbol table, and the top of the top of the table pointer stack contains the symbol table corresponding to this procedure, okay. So, that is taken, and I will do an add with T comma top of offset. So, that is also done, okay, similar to the previous one. So, whatever we have done here, okay, add with T of top of offset. So, to start that will be 0. And then once I am done with S, I will do a pop table pointer and pop offset, okay. But before then, enter procedure top of table pointer comma id dot name comma T. So, enter procedure in the top of table pointer. So, this is to be done, okay, to link the parent symbol table with the current symbol table, okay. So, id dot name is the name of the new function which is getting called, and T is its address. So, this will be done before this is going to be executed, okay. So, that is what we do in this particular symbol table. The next one, others are very simple. This is, we have already discussed this, D1 semicolon D2, nothing happens because the same thing only, it is a semicolon termination. So, I have to create new symbol tables. There is no connection between this declaration and the next declaration. So, I have to append to the same symbol table only. Now, T produces integer, we have already seen this. Type is integer and width is 4, type is real and width is 8. And when I see an array of num of T1, so type of T is nothing but array num dot value comma T1 dot type, meaning that the type of this T is a 10 element array of integer, that is what we are assigning here. And T dot width is equal to num dot value multiplied by T1 dot width. So, if I am declaring a 10 element integer array, it is going to be 10 into T1 dot width, which is nothing but 10 into 4, 40. So, the width of T is 40. And this is nothing but T produces arrow T1. So, in that case, it is going to be a pointer of T1 dot type, and width is also going to be 4. So, this is one more rule which you can basically append. So, as I already said, a stack of table pointers available to keep track of the available symbol tables. And when a new procedure is called, a symbol table is created and its pointer is pushed to the stack with offset, or I can maintain two stacks, one as an offset stack, other one will be a stack of table pointers. When the call terminates, this table pointer is popped as well as the offset is also popped, and then that is returned to, the called functions table pointer information and the called functions offset will be available in the top of the stack. Okay, these are additions. Even in these cases, you have to create a symbol table where you are going to use records in Pascal, and records in Pascal is similar to structures in C. So, T produces record L, D and end. So, in that case again L is a dummy variable. When I see an L, I do a make table, again uses the make. When I have a make table, I have to create I do a make table function and then I have to do a push and a push of table pointer and push of offset. These two are mandatory. Similarly, when I am ending up, I have to pop table pointer and pop offset. So, this is what we did as reference to the example which we discussed earlier in the case of a structure where we have to initiate a new symbol table and that is not pointing anywhere. Okay. So, similarly here this will not be pointing anywhere and then T dot type is equal to record of top of table pointer, that is what we are assigning type of T, and width will be top of offset whatever is available there, and then I have to do an add width, and then I have to after it ends I do a pop table pointer and pop offset. Okay. So, this is again similar to the structure of C. This is one more thing which we have to look at, syntax directed translations of statements. If it is id colon equal to e, okay, you have to look up top of table pointer id dot name. If p is equal to null, then error. If p dot level is equal to 0, then you have to emit id dot place is equal to e dot place, else you have to emit using the local subroutine frame. So, this is actually using the top of table pointer, how do I access the SDTs, how do I access the statements. Now, assignment statements, we look at assignment statements from now on, 3 address code for assignment statements. Some of it we have already seen in the previous module where we looked at expressions as part of the assignment statements. Now we will look into arrays as well as pointers as part of the assignment statements. Now, the assignment statements, you can have names in the symbol table. They are actually variables and they are referred to typically as addresses. The lookup function, okay, the lookup function basically checks the variable name in a symbol table, okay, and then it returns the address of the symbol table which is available. And here we are going to use the function emit, which is used to emit 3 address statements to an output file. We have already seen gen. Gen simply generates the 3 address code, whereas here emit emits 3 address statements to the output file. So, gen does it to the stream, okay. So, the translation scheme is here, which is exactly similar to the previous one only, but I am just using the emit function as compared to the gen statement. So, here S produces id colon equal to e, LHS is going to be an identifier which is looked upon in your symbol table, and if p is not equal to nil, meaning that p is available, then you emit p is equal to e dot place, else you throw an error. And the second one is e dot place is equal to new temp, and emit e dot place is equal to e1 dot place plus e2 dot place, which is a similar one. So, these are similar, only thing here is if the variable p is available in the symbol table, then you emit, else you say it is not available, therefore it cannot be handled. So, this is similar to the previous one only. Now, the next one is reusing temporary names, where we have said that we are going to create new temp as and when we encounter a new variable, a new expression e. So, normally how do I do that is I cannot have so many temporary variables. So, we try to reuse some temporary variables as when its job is done. So, here you will evaluate E1 and put it into T1, you will evaluate E2 and put it into T2, and you can say T3 is equal to T1 plus T2, okay. If T1 is no longer used, you can reuse T1, that is you can say here T1 is equal to T1 plus T2 itself, because subsequently if it is not going to be used, it is not going to be, it is a redundant information. So, here how do I do that is you modify the new temp to use a stack, keep a counter C initialized to 0, and new temp increments C and returns a temporary $C, decrement counter on each use of $I in a 3 address statement. So, you can keep a count on it, this is done here. So, to start with $0 is equal to A star B, so count is 1, I am using one temporary variable, and I can say $1 is equal to C into D, okay, 2 temporary variables. Then I am going to reuse this. So, $0 is equal to $0 plus $1, therefore, I have now decremented one temporary variable, and then I can say $1 is equal to E into F, because $1 is no longer essential, so I am decrementing it by 1 here. So, $1 is equal to E star F, therefore, that is going to be 2 temporary variables again. Then finally, I can say $0 is equal to $0 minus $1, that is instead of T1, T2, we are calling it as $0, okay. 1, and finally x is equal to $0, that is the final assignment. After the final assignment is done, I do not need temporary variables at all. So, therefore, I am decrementing the count to 0. So, this is one more strategy which is adopted to reduce the number of temporary variables which is being created, okay. So, the next one is addressing array elements. Array can be easily accessed if the elements are consecutive locations. The width is typically called as W, and the ith element is accessed using base plus I minus low into W, okay. Base plus, base is the relative address of A of low, and I into, you can rearrange this as I into W plus base minus low into W. Now, this I into W is done during compile time, and this C is done during runtime. Okay. To compute an address A of I, we can use I into W plus C. Arrays can be accessed using row major or column major, where row major means it's going to be accessed row by row, and for 2D arrays, for every row, all the columns are accessed and then second row is accessed. Similarly, column major can be accessed column by column. These are all things which we already know. So now this is row major, is the first row is accessed on all columns and then the second row. Column means the first column is chosen. Okay, you can see the column is 1 comma 1 here and the row is incremented first. Now in a row major, this is going to be a scenario. So base plus I1 minus low 1 into N2 plus I2 minus low 2 into W. So this is how it is computed. Again I can rearrange like this, okay, where something, this is done during compile time, this is done during runtime. So this is the grammar corresponding to array, and this is a Pascal grammar for array which is done. In Pascal, the array is defined as subscript, and then I am going to have A comma B comma C indicating how many dimensions are going to be available. So therefore, this is the grammar corresponding to array. We will anyway look at this grammar and the corresponding semantic rules in the next module. So this is how the grammar is done. The variable L is used to indicate it is going to be a array variable, and it has got two attributes, place and offset. Place is pointed to a symbol table and offset is to move through the array index. Okay. And n dimension array can be generalized using the recursive expansion, something like this: Em is equal to Em minus 1 plus Im and E1 is equal to I1. Now this is done based on how we have computed our grouping. So we said base minus low into W plus I into W, right? So that computation is has been reduced to a recursive expression, something like this. Now using these concepts, we are going to construct the address of the array, and then that is going to be used. How do I compute the address of the array? Using the 3 address code. So that will be done in the next module. So this module basically we have summarized the 3 address code for declarations in the context of scope information of all the variables that is part of any function call. That is also discussed. So how to maintain scope information has been discussed, and how to maintain a stack of table pointers was also discussed, and grammar for arrays have been discussed in this particular module. So with this as a basis, our next module will discuss about the 3 address code corresponding to arrays. Thank you.